Hi guys, I hope you all are doing well. We're starting a new unit. We'll be on it this week and next week. It's all about rational expressions. It has that word ratio kind of hiding in there. So all of these problems will have a numerator and a denominator that we'll be dealing with. This first section is just simplifying these expressions. So what we're going to do here is factor the numerator and the denominator and then cancel anything that we see in common in both of those. So we'll walk through that first, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about multiplying and dividing as well. If I run out of time on this video, I'll just pick up on the next video and post them both for you to watch. Okay, so for this first problem up on top, we see that we can pull a 2 out of the top. And that leaves us with x squared minus 4x minus 12. And then on the bottom, this x squared minus 4 you should recognize as the difference of squares. So we can call that x plus 2 and x minus 2. And then we can go a little bit further up on top here and think about factors of 12 that are going to get us to 4. So that's going to be a 6 and a 2. So up on top here we're going to have our binomial pairs and an x here and here, and then we need a 6 and a 2. We need a negative 4 in the middle, so we're going to do a minus 6 and a plus 2. So that negative 6 plus 2 will get you back to negative 4, and negative 6 times positive 2 gets you to the negative 12 there. Then we bring the rest of this problem down, and we see that we can cancel out the x plus 2's. So our final answer here is 2 times x minus 6 on the top and x minus 2 on the bottom. So it really is just a matter of making sure you're good with your factoring and then canceling out whatever you see that's in common on the top and the bottom. So our next one, we're also going to factor into binomial pairs on the top and on the bottom this time. So here we need a negative 6, so we're going to use 6 and 1. And we need the 6 to be negative so that we end up with a negative 5. And then on the bottom, we're going to use a 2 and a 1, and we're going to need the 2 to be negative, so we end up with a negative 1 in the middle here. And once we do that, we see that the x plus 1's can cancel out so that we're left with x minus 6, x minus 2. So those first two are they all really are pretty straightforward, but so you just have to make sure that you can recognize things like difference of squares or a trinomial that you're breaking into binomial pairs. So this next one, letter C, is a little bit different because all we can do on the top here is pull a 2 out. We have a 2 in common here with the 2 and the 6. So when you do that, 2x divided by 2 is x, negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3 up on top. And then on the bottom, because we have these 3 terms here, we can break that into binomial pairs. Factors of 9 that get us to 6 are going to be 3 and 3. So both of those are going to be negative because we need the 9 at the end to be positive. So negative times a negative is a positive. We're allowed to cancel those 2 out. So that leaves us with the 2 up on top and an x minus 3 on the bottom. So we would be done with that problem. Then the next one over, we can do our binomial pairs on the top. So we need to get to negative 8. So we're going to have negative 4 and positive 2 to get us to a negative 2 in the middle. And then here we need 4 at the end and 3 in the middle. So we're going to use 4 and 1. The 4 needs to be positive. So here we're kind of out of luck because we can't cancel anything at all. And that will happen. It's rare that it'll happen, but I just wanted to show you one where sometimes, even when you're done factoring, there's nothing you can do there. So this next one has a little bit of extra work that we have to do. So I just want to take you back to this. We multiply these two together. That's a 6. So we're using 1 and 6 or 2 and 3. Either one is going to work really for a 5, but we need their signs to be different. So we're going to use 6 and 1, namely negative 6 and a positive 1 that'll get us to this negative 5 that we need in the middle. So I have a little bit of extra work here up on top, if you remember. These are a little harder than some of the others. So we're going to have to fix up that top in a minute. Let's take a look at the bottom. It's difference of squares, x minus 2, x plus 2. But right here, we have a little bit of a problem we've created for ourselves with this multiplication. So we have to look at this and see, is there something that we can pull out of here? We can pull a 3 out of both of those. So this quantity right here is going to change to x minus 2 because we can pull a 3 out of both. And that's going to help us out with our cancellation here in a second. So here we're going to be able to get rid of the x minus 2's because they're identical on the top and the bottom. And then our final answer here is just 3x plus 1 on the top and x plus 2 on the bottom. So this one was a little harder because it has this coefficient in the front. It's different than this one up here. This one up here also had a value other than 1, but here we could pull something out of all 3. Whereas with letter E down here, we can't do that because you can't pull the same number out of all 3. Then the last one for the simplification method is here. So we're going to have our binomial pairs up on top here. We need to get to 9. We need to add or subtract whatever we're working with to get to 8. So we're going to use 9 and 1. We're going to use a negative 9 and a positive 1 to get us to negative 8. Because negative 9 plus 1 does equal negative 8. And negative 9 times positive 1 gets us to negative 9. This you should be recognizing as difference of squares. X plus 1, x minus 1. And then the only thing we can cancel here are our x plus 1's. So our final answer here is x minus 9 on the top, x minus 1 on the bottom. Okay, so hopefully you feel pretty good about that. That is just simplification, so that's not multiplying or dividing. So I think I'll probably end this video here. This is all about section 6.1, and then I'll start a new video for you with 6.2, which is similar, but now we're kind of adding in some extra skills with multiplication and division. So take a look at both videos before you try the worksheets that I have posted for you. Thanks, guys.